back to my channel. Today we are finally going to be talking about my birth story. The only people I really ever explained this to was my mommy friends, my sisters, that family. So I went into labor December 6th, 2022 around 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was in predominant labor for like 4 days before that. So I was having contractions for those 4 days, but it wasn't consistent enough for them to admit me into the hospital and for it to be actual labor like they said. So I was in so much pain. I wanted that kid out of me. And I remember I woke up and I went to go take a shower so the hot water could hit my back, because that was the only way to make it stop. And I remember I laid back in bed. I was naked. I just had my robe on, and I stood up because I felt like I had to go pee. I turned over and it felt like I peed myself. And I remember I panicked and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, Jeremy, wake up, my water broke. And we just stared at each other and I'm like, there's water still coming out of me. So I woke up, I called my sister. She was like 2 rooms down, and I'm like, my water broke. All you hear is her falling out of the bed and her boyfriend running towards me. And they're like, oh my God, what do you mean your water broke? And I'm like, my water broke, like this baby's coming now. And with how much we're talking and yelling, my dad, who had just had hernia surgery, came out the room and was like, everyone shut the fuck up. All of you shut the fuck up. What is going on? And I was like, my water broke. And he's like, okay, did you call your mom? And I was like, oh, I didn't. So I called my mom. She was in line to get the oil change, and she was like, oh my God, I have to go. And I remember my dad saying to my sister's boyfriend, if she's not here by time, you have to take the baby, you have to take her to the hospital. And the car seat was already in my mom's car. My bag, the baby's bag was all in my mom's car. So I'm like, oh, this woman needs to get here. I remember texting my sister's group chat, and I sent a TikTok, and I forgot what sister it was that was like, stop texting us. We only want you to text us when the baby's here. And I was like, my water broke. And they were like, you're fucking lying. I was like, no, I'm not. Like, he's coming. He's on his way. Me being me, I stopped at Dunkin' Donuts before I went, and my little sister was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You're not at Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if they're gonna let me eat. I got admitted at 8 o'clock, and what nobody told me, because I was asking everyone, I was like, when your water broke, what did it feel like? And some felt like it was a gush of water. Some said it felt like you peed yourself. The thing I didn't know, when your water breaks, you're supposed to be a certain centimeters dilated and effaced, and I wasn't. I was 1 centimeter dilated, and I wasn't effaced. So they had to put me on Pitocin, which is the medicine to help speed up the process. And that should have been my first sign something was wrong. So I was in labor from 8 o'clock in the morning up until midnight. And during that time, I was in so much pain. They had me like walking around. The baby's face was facing my back, and I guess he wasn't supposed to. He was facing the front. And it hurt. The only thing that helped if I sat on the toilet like legs spread wide open and leaning forward. That's the only thing that helped. My only part of that, of a birth plan I had, was I didn't want no student doctors, no student nurses, none of that. I wanted experienced people in my cooch up until the baby came out. So I wasn't able to get the epidural till 5 o'clock. So it was from 8 in the morning to 5 o'clock. I'm in pain. I finally hit 6 centimeters at 5 p.m. and I got the epidural, and I remember they let me control it, and I'm just pressing that motherfucker like I didn't want to go to sleep. And I remember waking up on my side, and I'm like, I feel the contractions again. And my mom and my boyfriend were like, what do you mean you feel the contractions again? And the bed's all wet behind me. And when I was asleep, 2 nurses came in, a student nurse and a regular nurse. And when they flipped me, my epidural came out. And I remember I was spazzing. My mom was spazzing. My boyfriend was spazzing. I was like, that was my only rule. No student fucking nurses. Anesthesiologist came back in. He's cursing everyone out. He's like, what the fuck happened? Like, how could you be so irresponsible? How could you let them take her epidural out when they were like moving her? How are you not watching her? And I remember he was yelling at them. So I was so upset. I had to get the epidural again, because both times I had it during contractions. Then it came time to push. It was midnight, and I was just so tired. I kept telling my mom, I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can push this baby out. And she was like, yes, you can. So they had me, the light right here. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, please don't look at my vagina. Please don't look. What she does, oh, you shaved. And I remember I pushed for 3 hours, 12 in the morning to 3 o'clock. And the last time I looked at my mom, and I was like, I don't think I can do this. I was like, I think something's wrong. They tried the little vacuum shit on my baby's head, and when I started crying, I was like, something's wrong, something's not right. They were like, you have to do the C-section. Both my older sisters that have children had the C-section, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I've seen them struggle to recover. I've seen them in the pain that they were. I was like, I don't want to have a C-section. And I remember I pushed my man and my mom, and I called my dad crying hysterically. I was like, they're telling me I have to have a C-section. Something's wrong with the baby. I was like, every time I push, they're losing his heart rate and his oxygen. I was like, I don't want to have this C-section. And he's like, you have no choice. You have to get this baby out. Like, he has to come before something happens to him and happens to you. And I was mad. I was upset. And I was like, okay, whatever. Let's have the C-section. I want my baby out. I was like, I know something's wrong. So I got wheeled in around 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm still time from 8 o'clock to this time. He's still not out. When they draped me and started cutting me, I felt some of it. And I was like, it's not to the point I'm crying, screaming in pain, but I feel like your hands in me. I feel you moving me around. And the reason they were losing the baby's heart rate and oxygen was he was pulling on his umbilical cord, trying to pull himself back into the belly and not be stuck in the birth canal. So when he came out, his hands were like this. And I remember them saying, oh, Mom, look, we have him. And I'm like, why isn't my baby crying? And they're like, oh, but look, he's moving around. I'm like, yeah, but he needs to cry. Like, I know he needs to cry. And I looked at my man and I was like, something's not right with him. Go look. And then as soon as they made eye contact, my baby and his dad, he started crying. And I remember crying too. I was like, oh, thank God he's fine. I'm like, he's okay. There's nothing wrong. And I remember they brought him over to me. And you're supposed to have your arms like flat out. And I grabbed him and I shoved him in my dress. I'm like holding him like this. So they're done. The C-section took like literally less than 45 minutes. And I remember they're wheeling me back into the room and I'm so high on the drugs. I'm just holding the baby like this. And I remember my mom going, oh my God, where is he? Where's the baby? And I'm like, he's here. He's in my chest. I wish I knew more going into labor what the hell was supposed to happen. So I would have been prepared. But now I am for whenever I decide to have my next child. But yeah, that's my birth story, guys.